Thank you. Honorable Deputy Minister Peace Mabe from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, and the Honorable MAC for Sport, Arts and Culture in the province, MAC Jerry Maseko, the Executive Mayor of Polokwane in absentia, represented here by Councillor Mama Wulu, and the Executive Mayor of Capricorn, represented here by Calvin Masora. The traditional leadership here present, especially Khoshi Ramupudu, Raleboga, the representative of the Department of Basic Education, National and Provincial Archives Council, the President of OHASA, and Mr. Sipho Zulu, and the Executive of OHASA here present, distinguished guests, esteemed historians, archivists, researchers, the educators that are here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our annual Oral History Conference. My name is Puleng Kana. I am the Chief Director for the National Archives and the Libraries program in the National Department, and I'm going to be your program director. I've got the privilege and the honor of directing the program this morning, and I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we stick to the time as scheduled. It is my pleasure to welcome you all here to the Oral History Conference on behalf of the organizing committee, and I extend warmest greetings to every participant and every scholar, the educators, as I've indicated. Your presence in this conference affirms the continuing importance of oral history in understanding our shared past and shaping our collective future. Throughout the years, this conference has created a platform for celebrating the voices, the memories, and the lived experiences of ordinary South Africans. Lived experiences that form the foundation or the cornerstone of our heritage, culture, and social cohesion. Oral history is at its best the story about us, about communities, and our nation. Today, as we gather here as scholars, educators, and archivists, community historians, we affirm the power of storytelling, not only to preserve memory, but to build understanding and social cohesion. Our nation's journey from dispossession to democracy reminds us that memory is not neutral. It carries the pain of the past, but also the promise of the future. So this year's conference, with the theme Oral History, Untold Stories, and Living Archives, Pursuance of Relentless Struggles for Human Dignity, is challenging all of us as historians to document the history of our people with care, and to listen with empathy, and to honor the dignity of every person whose story we tell. So, as we begin with our program, I really want to take this opportunity at very early in the program to acknowledge the province in terms of the Provincial Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, and as well as the University of Limpopo, and all the other key stakeholders that have made it possible for us to converge here. Thank you very much, and I would like to encourage everyone as we proceed with the program to listen very carefully and to ask questions when it is necessary. So thank you really very much. I'm going to take this opportunity to invite the President, the Councillor Masura, to welcome us here formally in Polokwane. Polokwane ga maraba ga maraba.
Program Director, Mr. Kekana, ke Mabulepu, ke Tlou Tabele, ke monna kua Khobali kua, Molatlana. Honorable Deputy Minister, wa rena wa leng gona mo Lekgono, Memabe, the MEC for Sports, Arts and Culture, Honorable Maseko, the acting executive mayor of Polokwane, Papa Orena, Papa Mamabolo, the president of OHASA, Mr. Zulu. I shall have failed if I cannot recognize one of my own. Ka gore nna le ena re tswa gae gote re tsene sekolo gote Lechela, Papa Lkhwati, Prof. Kgoši ya ka le magoši ka moka ba etile pele ke Kgoši Ramopudu, one of the struggle veteran amongst us here today, Papa Mashamba, the HOD whom I worked so closely with, MEC Maseko. At some stage I worked with her. She was the CFO in one of the past experience of my life, and I hope she will continue to do her work very well. Distinguished academic, researchers, practitioners, ladies and gentlemen, at the presidency of Thabo Mbeki, in the past, there was this program called Our Roots Are Speaking. And one of its intention was to ensure that young people are able to bring out the history of their own selves. And coming here today, it reminds me of that. It is with profound sense of pride, honor, that I stand before you today on behalf of the Executive Mayor of Capricorn District Municipality to extend our heartfelt welcome to you all. We are truly privileged to host the prestigious 22nd National Oral History Conference in our beautiful and cultural rich city of Polokwane, the heartland of Limpopo. The theme of the conference, Oral History, Untold Stories and Living Archives, pursuant to the relentless struggles of human dignity, resonate deeply with us. This very soil upon which we stand is a living archive. It holds the echoes of our ancestors, the whispers of our tradition, and the untold stories of our community, the struggle, the triumphs of our own people. To have the National Convention about and remembering and restoring and reclaiming the dignity right here where so much of our history was shaped is both befitting and powerful. For the few days, our district became a national central hub for the memory and the truth. We are not just hosting this conference, we are opening our homes and our heritage for crucial national dialogue. The stories we'll share, the debates you'll have, and the knowledge you will be able to generate are essential for completing the tapestry of our national identity. Capricorn District Municipality, we understand that our future development is extrinsically linked to the preservation of our heritage. We cannot build a prestigious and cohesive society without first understanding who we are and where we come from. The work you do, documenting, analyzing, and amplifying forgotten narratives is not an academic exercise, but a vital service to our nation, national soul, and a cornerstone and cohesion and for transformation. I wish to commend the Oral History Association of South Africa and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for your unwavering commitment to the critical work that you continue to do all the time. To all the delegates who have traveled from across South Africa and beyond, we welcome you not just as visitors, but as partners to the journey of remembrance. May your deliberation be fruitful, your network strengthened, and your resolve fortified. Explore our city, experience our warmth of the people of Capricorn, and draw inspiration from the spirit of our forebears. It is now my singular pleasure to officially welcome you to Capricorn District, the home of excellence and opportunities for all, one of a few districts which harbors Polokwane, Blouberg, Molemole, and Lepelle-Nkumpi municipality as part of the municipalities that are striving to make sure that excellence is forever realized in our own shores. I've been listening to the narrative some few days ago where the talk was that we are not doing well as municipalities, but Honorable Maseko get an assurance that in our district, we are one of the best. And that is why we always strive for excellence within ourselves as a district and our own all municipalities. On that note, we take this opportunity to welcome you and feel free and enjoy yourself as you deliberate throughout the week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the very warm welcome. So, refihlile Polokwane bjale. I would like to take this opportunity to invite the President of OHASA. If you can just give him a round of applause. This is his first conference as the President of OHASA. Thank you very much, Ntate Zulu.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. Thank you. When the program director says this is our first conference, I remember that I forgot something on my table. That's why I went back to take it. Thank you very much once again, program director. Colleagues, let me start by greeting Honorable Deputy Minister Pismabe, MEC of Sports, Arts and Culture, in the province, Mr. Jerry Maseko, Executive Mayor represented by Councillor Mamobolo, and Councillor Matome, Calvin Masoche, representative of the Department of Education in the province, Your Highness Khoshi Ramupudu, and other traditional leaders here, Struggle veteran Mr. George Mashamba, learners and educators, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Colleagues, before I start with the speech, let me say, as it is alluded, that this is our first conference as a newly elected executive committee. This committee was elected last year at Ulundi. So we started, or rather we assumed office on October. So this is our very first conference in our 3-year term. It is good to be back here again, colleagues. I remember in 2007 we were here. Actually, I was here in this hotel. That's where everything started in 2007. So I was very young, colleagues, and a novice, shivering and fearing the unknown. At that time, there was a stranger seated next to me during our presentation. You know, when you're about to present your papers, there will always this number of colleagues that will be awaiting to present. So it happened that I was seated next to a stranger. I'm calling him a stranger. That person, I just called him this morning asking where he is, because I did not see him around. So as I was seated next to that stranger's name is Prof. Mokhajane. He said to me, actually at that time I was very shivering, I was very afraid, I was very young. You know, first time presenting at a national oral history conference. Never presented any paper before at a national platform like this. And then here I am seated next to him. Then he could see that, you know what, this guy is not settled, you know. Then he started to say, hey Bafanas, are you sharp? I know I'm good. Then he said, you know what, I can see we are not settled. But just go out there, you tell them your story. You are the only one who knows your story. Nobody can tell you about it. So just go out there and do your best. And from there, I was a bit settled, you know. Though he was also intimidating me himself, because, you know, he was this tall man and already a professor sitting next to him. So, and, you know, but anyway, he's the one actually who made me to feel comfortable in 2007 when we were here attending a National Oral History conference. So colleagues, as he was telling me those stories, then I felt settled. Then I was able to tell my story the best way I know how, and everything went well. So colleagues, I'm telling this story because sometimes those people who are well conversant, or rather who are used to present in conferences, they need to impart skills to the young ones. They need to tell the young ones, this is how you need to do things, you know. Because as I was saying that the way I was so afraid, I couldn't even imagine myself when somebody is starting to ask a question, you know. How was I going to respond to that question? So can we give him a round of applause? And he is a former president. Actually, I took the baton from him last year, colleagues. So Deputy Minister, I share this story because it is imperative to contribute to the development of young and upcoming oral history practitioners. What we know today comes from many encounters that mark the journey traveled. Wisdom and experience come less from scholarly pursuit and more from paths and roads that are forever under construction. Provincial chapters are entering this space to be ambassadors who mentor and spearhead a revolutionary change in the field of oral history, so that one can raise a hand and say, I know a similar journey. It happened to me. That is the essence of oral history and memory work. Deputy Minister, the history of this country has taught us to learn from the knowledge and thinking of pessimist champions who saw less good for the majority while praising the enlightenment brought by minority. Historiography has alerted us to the need to analyze and carefully examine the content and narrative of documented histories. When you read histories, you don't take it as it is. Sometimes you need to question who wrote this, on what perspective, and what is it trying to deliver to our communities. If we can ask those questions, that's where we'll be able to correct our histories. So that's why oral history is important. So colleagues, some of the papers to be presented in this conference will be in vernacular languages. We are no longer afraid to be ourselves and take pride in who we are. We are all here because of our love for heritage and history. The first generation to lead this organization faced the mammoth task of transition and the challenge of accommodating the previously marginalized into inclusive heritage and history. The generation that followed had to build a strong momentum to participation and spreading the significance of oral history. Our generation faces a very different task today. We are engulfed in the era of artificial intelligence, automation, and advanced communication tools, far removed from the age of jotting down notes and using tape recorders. As these demands evolve, we must remain open to change while preserving credible content that will form part of our history. Communities rely on us to ensure smooth adaptation to these changes. Colleagues, let us engage, deliberate, and enjoy the exercise of the mind, not only for our benefit, but to leave a constructive river of knowledge for posterity. Enjoy the conference, colleagues. I'm refusing to leave the stage. I'm not going to leave up until I call the newly elected committee of OHASA, so that all of us, we can know who are the people who are leading this organization. In 2 minutes, I will start with the Deputy President, Prof. Sekiba Lehwati. Can you come up front, please? Our General Secretary, Kelda De Vries, if she's around. I think she's busy with the registration. Our Treasurer, Mr. Fikile Josie. Our Research and Development, Dr. Nzimane. Our Promotion and Publicity, Ms. Notile, in her absentia, she is represented by Mr. Zeb Setedi. Our Deputy Secretary, Ms. Linda Manyane Okoza, double-barreled surname. Our editor, Prof. Christina Landman. So, Deputy Minister, these are the members of the Executive Committee that were elected last year at Ulundi Conference. So moving forward, if you have any problems and you want to ask any question to OHASA, any of these members are capable to answer you. Can we give them a round of applause? Above this, we are also having subcommittees, but I'm not going to call them at the front. We are having an editorial board members that are responsible for our publications. Can they stand up where they are seated? That is Professor Kogi, Dr. Mushonga. I don't see others. Oh, Viewers Sibanga. Yes. And then we are also having the subcommittees of the fundraiser. The person who's responsible for fundraising is Good Enough Mashego. We're also having an ethics committee. I saw Dr. Mabelane. Okay. And Dr. Biela in absentia. Colleagues, thank you very much. These are your members. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You see, this is how we account. You are setting a very good example to say, here is my executive and you must judge me. Thank you very much. I would like to invite a cultural group called Utshepile Ing for them to give us one or two items. Utshepile Ing, are you ready? Awa le ka nna la tla a ke tsebe gore le tshwere le nyaka moropa o kae moropa o tla kere re nyaka go kwa olla moropa o re nyaka go kwa lebetha moropa kere Can you just give them a round of applause, please? Thank you very much. Can we just give them a round of applause? Or la hloka kgomo le ja motho. Deputy Minister and the MEC, as it was indicated earlier, OHASA is producing a publication which they call Tell Your Mother a Story, allowing women to express themselves. And we've had a discussion with OHASA and requesting them to focus on gender-based violence, to make sure that in this publication we are telling stories about gender-based violence so that we are able to create more awareness about this scourge. And I'm going to ask Dr. Archery to talk about this publication. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, and all protocol observed. It is my privilege this morning to share the trajectory of the Tell Your Mother's Story, which started in 2014. Which one is next? This one, okay. That's, no? Next. You can stand and do it. Okay. So, as you've heard, I am Kogilam Archery, and I have been the series editor for the Tell Your Mother Story, which a project was started in 2014. So my topic for this morning is a platform to change the trajectory of the gendered narrative. Okay, so in 2018, we submitted, in 2018, we launched Volume 1. Right. As I mentioned, the project started in 2014 under the leadership of Professor Sekiba Kiba Lekwati, who was the president of OHASA at the time, and with great leadership from Professor Christina Landman, who was in charge of publications. We got a copy ready in June 2018. And this copy then went to Finland via Dr. Seppo Molloy, who was the president of OHASA in 2018. In 2018, we had a 67 minutes for Tata Nelson Mandela, where we released the copies to authors in Glenash, KwaZulu-Natal. And you may ask, why did we do that? Well, at that stage, it was a project based on fundraising issues, and most of the writers came from Durban and KwaZulu-Natal, so we decided to do that in KwaZulu-Natal. We then, at the National Oral Conference in Cape Town, October 2018, we handed a copy to the Deputy Minister at that time, Deputy Minister Socho. And in that volume, we had personal testimonies. We then moved on to 2019, where we had Volume 2, and this was a project that was generated so that we could have some fundraising effort. Right? And because of the academic volume, we decided to reduce the page fees, and we had 7 more stories that were added to Volume 2. This was then launched at the Mpumalanga conference, and we had the Deputy Minister, Mafu, in attendance. And when I did have an opportunity to speak to her, I shared some information about the project, and I indicated that, page fees is becoming an issue, and that we should look at some other way of getting this project sorted. And then we moved on to Volume 3 in 2020. And remember, at this stage, we were in COVID. So we had a virtual launch on the 9th of August. And here we had 36 authors. And it spoke of national pride. We also had youth writers. And at this stage, it moved from a sales project to an awareness project. We also included stories of the LGBTQ community, but we still continued selling volumes 1, 2, and 3. And then we moved on to Volume 4 in 2021, and this was launched in the Northern Cape. And here we had more stories that spoke of gender-based violence. And like you can see on our cover, we had the drum beat, which is the beat of the nation. It spoke of movement, it spoke of culture, it spoke of change. And then we moved on to Volume 5, which was in 2022. And this was launched in Clarence in the Free State. And here we have the integration of different aspects of society. We had more youth stories. And as the cover indicates, we moved towards technology, because you see the fire in the background, but you also see a young student, tape recording an older person at work. And this spoke of change in how our book has moved through the years. And we also had stories on reflective memories. And then we moved on to Volume 6. And this is a cover that was designed by our editorial committee member, Mr. Goodenough Mashego. And I would invite you to chat with him about this cover and the fact that a mother will catch the spear by the sharp end. Unfortunately, I cannot translate that into the African language, but he will do so when you chat with him later. And he is in the audience. Let's give him a round of applause, Mr. Mashego. All right. This volume was also then launched in Gauteng at the Cradle of Humankind. And we had stories now that moved into becoming more political, where we had the Group Areas Act, we had social cohesion, and so much more. And then eventually last year we had volume 7, which was launched in Ulundi, in KwaZulu-Natal. And here, once again, we used AI and we generated a cover. And we spoke about, we chose the train because the train, signifies movement from one place to the other. It also spoke about migration. It also speaks about the challenges that people face with transportation, where women have to get up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and even men to go to work. So here we included the Milicob, which talks about the economic generation for women who sell near places of work. We also included the cup, the flag on the mug, and this talks about nation building. And here in KwaZulu-Natal, Ms. Peace Mabe was there in attendance to receive a copy of the book. Then we move on now to 2025, to volume 8, right, which is going to be launched this evening here in Polokwane. And I must say that we now have a 132-pager, which is really amazing. Because volume 1 had 48 pages. So we have gone for a 12, more than 3 times the number of pages from volume 1. So as you can see, with support from the department, from colleagues like Ms. Kanye Ngobo and Advocate Dennis Marker and Mr. Lucas Tulare and Ms. Belinda, and all the other colleagues who assist in us getting this project off the ground. It is a 132-pager. It has 27 stories written by women across the racial divide, across age group, across economic sectors. And we have 5 ancestral voices stories. And here we have to thank Mr. Terence Ball, who is also in the audience, who has been submitting these stories for the last 4 years. So I think he also deserves a round of acknowledgement and applause for that we have these stories in original mother tongue, right? So people are able to read this, get to know what happened before 1930. These stories that were written by ordinary people and are now here in volume 8 for us to read and record. And we also have 4 opinion pieces this year, and I think some of our writers are here in the audience, and that's Ms. Maite Manganya, Ms. Viwe Sibanga, Dr. Claudine is not here, and Ms. Lungile is not here. So let's even give our opinion piece writers an applause, because they bring another dimension, that does not come across as stories, but food for thought. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to move on to the next one, which is volume 9, which is going to be launched in the Eastern Cape next year, hopefully. And the call for papers for volume 9 is the 27th of April, 2026. The theme will be Decades of Democracy Before and Beyond. The objectives of TIMS is to be noted as a platform to change the trajectory of the gendered narrative. And the aim is for women's stories, the aim is that women's stories need to be shared, stored, archived, as women are the backbone of the nation. It started off as a fundraiser, it moved on to an awareness project, and finally it should have a seat at the table, not just a coffee table, publication table, but a seat at every table. It is a rich repository of our country's health, healing, heritage, and history. And I have a little quote here at the bottom, which was taken from a presentation that Radikobo Nsimande made in 2018 when we released the books to the authors, and where he wrote, "Mothers are an inextricable part of our heritage," and at that time he was with the Department of Arts and Culture. And I want to now move on to the last one, which would be my last slide, which will be volume 10 in 2027, and hopefully in the Cape Province. And here, as mentioned by Professor Lahwati this morning, there's a call to the ministerial task team to include, the women's stories in terms of the curriculum, syllabus, and women's contribution over the years, and that the gender narratives should now start to change. And we should talk about the Tell Your Mother Story impact, its influence, and its intention. And I have a photograph here of Dr. Nsimande and Mr. J.S. Singh. Mr. J.S. Singh was born in 1930, and he passed away this year in August. And he was a great support when the Tell Your Mother Story began, because he submitted his grandmother's story. If he were alive, he would have turned 95 last month. And he was a great support to me in terms of the Tell Your Mother Story, and he was there handing over a copy of the book to Radiko Bentsamandi at the launch. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the afternoon. And whilst our program director is coming up, this is a copy of volume 8 that will be launched this afternoon at the Limpopo University. Thank you to all the writers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Archery. We now are going to be taking messages of support and, okay. There's a few messages of support that we are going to be taking. I'm going to ask the president of the South African Society of Archivists, Maite Manganye, and then she will be followed by Mr. Lubisi, who is representing the National Archives Advisory Council. And then I will also ask the chairperson of Limpopo Archives Council to also deliver the message of support from the province. I know that quite often they say that historians talk a lot, but today you will be forgiven because we will call it oral history. But I would like to request that they just be mindful of the time so that everyone is able to speak. All right, maybe in that order we can do it like that. Ne? Sure.
Yeah, that's true. Good morning. Tawela, Lekai, Regona. Let me extend my sincere greetings to the Honorable Deputy Minister, Ms. Pismabi, Honorable MEC Maseko, the President of OHASA, Mr. Zulu, the Acting Executive Mayor of Capricorn District Municipality, Magoshi Arena Kamuka Aling Mo, members of the National and Provincial Archives Advisory Council, Comrade George Mashamba, nice to see you again, that you're still fit and kicking. It's an honor to meet you again. Bakulukumba inkwabo la bangala na misheweta. This is Limpopo, a province with diverse languages. So in between, we switch. I'm happy that I'm here in my province under the department that launched me, gave me an opportunity to launch myself in the fraternity of archives and records management. This is where I started, the Limpopo Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. HOD, I've worked with them for the longest time before I could leave in 2023. I think I've worked for more than 11 years in the department in archives, Limpopo Provincial Archives and Records Management. From SASA, it is an honor and deep appreciation that on behalf of the organization, I extend a message of support to the organizers and participants of the 22nd Oral History Conference. This conference continues to be a vital national platform that brings together archivists, historians, oral historians, researchers, and memory practitioners to engage in meaningful dialogue about the power of memory, storytelling, and documentation in shaping our shared identity as South Africans. This year's theme, Oral History, Untold Stories and Living Archives, Pursuance of Relentless Struggles for Human Dignity. It captures the enduring relevance of oral history in our time It challenges us to move beyond conventional narratives and to confront the silence that persists in our collective record. Oral history is not merely a recollection of events. It is an act of reclaiming humanity, restoring dignity, and giving voice to those whose experience have been marginalized, distorted, and forgotten. In the context of our nation's history, the pursuit of human dignity is deeply intertwined with the struggles of communities whose stories were often excluded from official archives. The act of listening, recording, and preserving these voices transforms archives into living spaces. The spaces that reflect memory in motion, identity in evolution, and history as a shared human experience. Through oral history, we reaffirm that archives are not static repositories of the past, but dynamic instruments of social justice, transformation, and healing. As South African Society of Archivists, we recognize that oral history plays a critical role in advancing inclusive record-keeping practice and in bridging the gap between traditional knowledge system and formal archival processes. It complements the Society's commitment to ethical preservation, accessibility, and the protection of records with enduring value. It also reinforces our shared mission to ensure that the custodian of memory, archivists, historians, and oral historians alike continue to uphold the principles of authenticity, accountability, and human dignity in all their work. Hosting this prestigious conference in Limpopo province is particularly significant. Limpopo is a province rich in heritage, oral traditions, and intergenerational storytelling. It is here that ancestral wisdom continues to thrive, connecting the past to the present and inspiring younger generations to value their roots. This setting reminds us that oral history is a living practice, nurtured in communities, shaped by the lived experiences, and passed through the voices of those who carry history within them. May this conference inspire new conversations, stimulate research collaborations, and strengthen partnerships across the heritage and archival sector. Let it serve as a reminder that the preservation of untold stories is a shared responsibility, one that binds us together in our collective effort to build a more inclusive and dignified historical record. The South African Society of Archivists commends the Oral History Association of South Africa and all partners for their dedication to advancing this critical field. We stand in solidarity with our mission and reaffirm our support in ensuring that archives, both oral and written, continue to serve as an instrument for knowledge, empowerment, and social transformation. I wish all the participants a fruitful, reflective, and inspiring conference. May your deliberations contribute meaningfully to the ongoing work of remembering, preserving, and honoring our nation's diverse voices. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Kekane. Let me take this opportunity and greet the Honorable MEC, the Honorable Deputy Minister Peace Mabe, and the Honorable MEC Masego, Hoshira Mkudu, and the representative of the Mayor, Councillor Masuha. May I also recognize the presence of our struggle veteran, Mr. George Mashamba, and take this opportunity and observe the protocol that has already been established. Thank you very much. President Zulu, you know, when you said you are refusing to leave the stage, you reminded me of what happened last weekend. And that was not a good experience at all. We really, some of us are in deep pain. So please don't do that. Thank you very much. And also recognize you, President Zulu, and your executive that you are working with. We also recognize Professor Maruta, who's part of the National Archives Advisory Council that I'm representing today. I would like to convey the apology of our chairperson, Mrs. Bongile Nzimande, who could not make it here. So I'm here representing her and speaking on her behalf. We want to convey our deepest appreciation to our HASA for the good work that you have been doing for the past 23 years or even more. And also appreciate the great work that you are doing in the different provinces of our country. And also appreciate the work that you are doing in assisting our provinces to establish their own chapters. It is really appreciated because this is very important. Oral history plays a very important role in strengthening where we come from, where we are, and where we are going. So it's very, very important. We also realize that there are many gaps within our history in this country and in the different communities of our diverse country. So you play a very important role in closing these gaps, and that is really appreciated. Please continue with that good work and make sure that our community's history is also properly recorded and archived. We also appreciate the good work that you are doing with the different young people, the training of our learners in the different schools. We also appreciate the work that you are doing with the different universities, working with the young people to understand where they're coming from and also understand the importance of history. Why is it important? I appreciated when the Deputy President said they are thinking, or not thinking, but they are working towards making sure that history becomes one of the compulsory subjects. It's very important because if we don't know where we are coming from, we will miss the point. We are going to make many mistakes, you know. Our history has been so distorted that many people do not appreciate the great work that different communities in this country in particular have done. And they don't appreciate the work that has been done to be where we are today. You know, we have not on a silver platter. Many people laid their lives for us to be where we are today, and that needs to be appreciated, and people need to understand that for us to continue to unite this country, it is important to understand where we're coming from and going forward. We are also pleased to realize that some of the provinces where the associations are very strong, oral history associations are very strong, they have started to invite speakers from other countries in the region of SADC, but maybe even outside SADC throughout the continent. That is a very important thing to do as well, because our histories are intertwined. And it is also important to understand that painful history that we have gone through ourselves as this country, they have gone through as well. So that is also very important as we continue to work with oral history. So please continue with that good work as well. And we want to wish you a successful conference in the coming few days. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thobela, Shewani, Nda. I am convinced that everyone is good this morning. As I was already introduced, my name is Mwakuma Ruta, and I am a full citizen of Limpopo within South Africa. Let me first start by recognizing the following dignitaries: our Deputy Minister, Honorable Peace Mabe, our MEC, Honorable Jerry Maseko, our Executive Mayor in absentia, represented by Councillor Masoa, our Chief Director for National Archives and Libraries, Ndade Kekana. I also want to recognize our HOD for Sports, Arts and Culture in Limpopo, Ms. Mukhonyana, and OASA President Ndade Sipho Zulu, our traditional leaders, advisory councils across forms, both national and provincial, and allow me to say all protocols are observed. Let me start by appreciating this opportunity to stand here before you and speak to issues of oral history. It is our belief that this conference is going to be a very fantastic experience to all of you. As you can see, a lot of work, hard work is put into place to make it possible. And it is coming as a great opportunity to every one of you to learn deeper about issues of oral history. What makes this conference even more exciting is when you look at the theme of the conference: the oral history, untold stories, living archives. So from this, you can see that what we are going to take here is a brand new information. It was never told anywhere. So it is going to be told here before you, and you are going to receive first-hand information than anyone out there. Oral history is very important because it may be used as the best tool to enhance our heritage in different form or medium, because with it we may rectify omissions and also correct the incorrect information as discovered in the archival custodies. Some archives, I think you will agree with me, especially those who are from the archive background, they are not necessarily complete, and some of the information may be incorrect. And with oral history, we are able to close those gaps. We are able to correct, we are able to fill the gaps where the information is not complete. And the reason we need a complete and correct archive is to ensure that we are able to support education, research, and public understanding. Because with the incorrect information, obviously, the understanding will be incorrect. And of course, the research will be misleading to the decision makers, and also the learning will be the other way around. So with this in mind, we are aiming to preserve proper society, cultural heritage, ensuring that future generations can learn from and understand their past properly, without any doubt or missing information. I am encouraging everyone attending here to grab this opportunity with both hands, to expand your knowledge and skills and connect with other professionals and build your network. So the learning must not end here. As we interact, we need to also connect to each other for continuous interaction. So this must not be the end. And I have no doubt that the insight to be shared in this conference will be truly impactful, inspiring, and motivating to each of you. And I encourage everyone to actively and fully participate in the discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to connect with you in the field of oral history, of course. By just looking around, you can tell that a lot of effort is put in place to ensure that this is a possibility. This must have taken a lot of time and energy to organize, and for that, we appreciate the attention to the details, and we believe that this is not going to go into in vain. Thank you for putting together such a valuable event. I'm grateful being given the opportunity to attend. And in closing, I want to quote in relation to the fact that I've been observing that OASA as an organization is growing step by step from time to time. And we can take that from the quote of Lauch, who says, the journey of thousands of miles begin with one step. So after one step, OASA did not stop moving. So you can still see that the movement is continuing. The other quote that relates to ensure that the opportunity must be grabbed with two hands. We need to live as if you were to die tomorrow. So which means this opportunity, we must use it as if there's no other opportunity tomorrow. And also learn as if you were to live forever. So that is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And I want to encourage also the youth or the young generation, as they tell stories, they need to research our archives and try to share the content from those custodies to ensure that those who are rarely visit the archive, they are also able to learn from this kind of platforms, because not everyone, most especially the elders, utilize our archives effectively. And by so doing, our youth or young people must be also focusing on publishing such kind of information so that they can share it extensively. And one of the messages I used to deliver is that archive is not different to the mining industry, wherein in our country, other nations, they come and mine the raw materials, refine them and convert them into secondary products and come back to sell them back to us expensively. So with archive relating to this example, some authors from other countries, including abroad, they may come here and research our archive. After research, they can publish books which are very valuable and expensive, then sell them back to us. Why can't we write our stories ourselves? So that, I leave you with that question, and because in the interest of time, I think I want to pause here and thank you for attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very good to see that we've got very active branches or chapters in the various provinces. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and acknowledge the presence of the Mokopane Traditional Council. Salamugela. Basemletlane, salamugela. Traditional leadership plays a very important role in terms of mediating between the past and the present. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite Kgoshi Ramupudu on behalf of the House of Traditional Leaders to give us a message of support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director, Tate Kekan, Litevele Lamletani, Babaletiware Matevele Makongwane Atoka Komaja Mutu. Ibile Rena Matevele Kwamletani, Silevi, Ibi Singe Foroko, Kisere Sijirang Komletani, Rijale Visika Foroko, Eneria Kona. Honorable the Deputy Minister, Mayor Peace Mabe, and the Honorable MEC Jerry Maseko. Some people have turned their names into trademarks. You can't just say Maseko without saying Jerry, because he's well known as Jerry. If I go home and say I met Jerry, they'll say, oh, Honorable MEC Maseko. Like before, they used to say, I met Nelson Mandela. I mean, Nelson. They'll say, oh, you mean Mandela? Like our Deputy Minister here, when you say I met Peace, they will know that's Peace Babe. I don't want to talk about George. When you say George, they will say, oh, George Mashamba, the veteran. Realeboga. Agito Tianako, Sarina, as the House of Traditional Leaders in Limpopo, we are very pleased to have been invited to take part in this a very important conference. The President, Sipho Zulu of Oral History Association of South Africa Conference, the Acting Councillor of Mayor of Polokwane, Councillor Mamabolo, and the Acting Executive Mayor of Capricorn, Councillor Calvin Masora. The Professor Mkhwachane from the University of Limpopo, and also Professor Letuka, the former president of OHASA and member of Limpopo Heritage Council. That's Professor Mkhwachane. And also Professor and the chairperson of the Limpopo Archive Central, and all members here present. Utatani Mashamba, I've already acknowledged him. And also the Public Service Commission veteran of the struggle, representative of Department of Education and the Department of other universities present here, and also recognizing the Traditional Council of Mukopane present here, Leleboga, Mandrebele Ketu, Helena, Lelofa, Lena Lerena, Rata Leboga, and also mentioning the HOD of the Department of Arts, Sport and Culture, Mayor Mkhonyana, and all other officials present here from the province and the national government, and all stakeholders, private sector, media, and ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Deputy Minister, It gives us an enormous pleasure today to stand before you to give a message of support in a gathering of this magnitude as delegated by our provincial chairperson, Hosi Ngobe PC, the chairperson of Limpopo House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders, and also representing the entire traditional leadership institution in the province, of which we are 203 traditional leaders in this province, including the Mokopane representatives from Moshate. We really appreciate your presence here today. It again gives us joy as royal leaders to know that the institution is currently being taken seriously, especially since the institution have entered into partnerships with several departments, including the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture in this province, Limpopo. It has always been our wish that we should have a meaningful standing partnerships in the way of signed memorandum of agreement with all the relevant stake entities. We would really like to applaud MEC Mr. Jerry Maseko for initiating that the Provincial House and the department bridge the gap by working closely together, since they are our future wish, and to have robust engagement with the project teams like NARSA, Limpopo, Provincial and National Archives, OHASA and LOC. Our painful history of being overlooked as royal leaders needs all stakeholders to play a very significant role in uplifting traditional communities' development through knowledge sharing. Oral history as a vehicle for culture preservation and social transformation, it is again very critical that all partnerships be active, especially when it comes to enhancing relationships between all heritage councils and traditional authorities. The Provincial House appreciated the presence of Commission on Art, on Culture, Religion, and Logistic Rights as partners in preserving cultures and also as the voices of the nation. It is very important that the conference takes resolution and adhere to the implementation by developing strategies to support and promote participation of traditional leaders with oral history and engagement in contestation over heritage sites. I hope, Honorable MEC, before the end of this financial year, my traditional council will invite you to Tabansu. I don't say Tabanchu, I say Tabansu. There's a different Tabansu next to Groblersdal, where we have been forcefully removed in 1962, just to see the area, because it has got a very rich history. As you will remember, the first church, Lutheran church in this side of Olifants River was built on the 20th of August 1860. There is a lot of history there, very rich, and we ought to come there and don't leave Professor Mkhwajana behind. He must be invited because he also knows the story very well. Thank you, Prof. You must be there also. We believe that our wishes can only be realized if there are efforts from, amongst others, heritage councils, all relevant departments and traditional leadership institutions to work hand in hand in building a healthy working relationship to rewrite the wrongs of what portrayed of history. We believe that sharing knowledge and archived information can reduce most traditional leadership and succession dispute, so to have peace and harmony amongst our communities. As we always say or hear, some traditional leadership in courts, and that's not palatable. We just want to see that our things work harmoniously amongst our people. The provincial and national archives are well placed to implement initiatives since they know and understand rural communities better, instilling knowledge of culture, identity, and the preservation of indigenous narratives. As the custodian of custom, culture, and tradition, it is our responsibility to partner with all culture and heritage-related stakeholders like the Department of Sports, Arts, and Culture, and other entities to participate social inclusion and nation building as a way of transforming the institution of traditional leadership. Program Director, it is against the above indicating that during the present governance system, we have both formal and informal structures, and the formal structures could benefit from the traditional system by partnering with OHASA, which aims is to promote and facilitate the recording, preservation, access, popularization, and study of oral history in South Africa. This includes poetry, music, oral praise, oral performance, and the oral tradition that will assist our community's leaders to shape a better future with knowledge of oral history, full of untold and told stories. In conclusion, Program Director, as we are emphasizing the institution of traditional leadership, and as the key stakeholder, is that it is very imperative that all stakeholders present and all departments execute the functions efficiently and effectively for the betterment in knowledge of rural communities. With these few words, we wish you well and a successful 5 days annual National Oral Conference. Re a leboga.
Thank you very much, Ra leboga, Bakamshat, Ra leboga. I will now call 3 provincial reps, one from Mpumalanga, Mr. Mashego, and then he will be followed by Mr. Kuzwayo from KZN, and then Mr. Josie from Eastern Cape. In that order. Thank you.
Tobela, Shewani, Nda. First of all, I'd like to send my regards to the Deputy Minister with us today, second time. First time in Ulundi. Thank you very much for supporting the Oral History Association conferences and the programs that we do. Ndabe Zita, the President of Oral History Association of South Africa, my regards to you as well. Mshate, Ralebo, Swata Home. Our veteran, Tatana George Mashamba, Yamerungula, Namuntla, Ekensangofu leswaku Milana ina la cancer. Sasa mema ite raudumedisha relevera pulelo ebotse a message of support that was very much uplifting. Traditional leadership that is here di bata kgomo re a leboga go ba gona ga lena gore re amogela mo provinceng ya Limpopo go a bontšha gore re fitlhile gabotse ka gae ga re amogela ke ba mošate. I'm standing here representing Oral History Association of Mpumalanga. My chairperson is Mr. Mteto Nyambose, so he's not with us today for reasons maybe that are beyond his own control. I stand here today because we are in the 23rd conference of Oral History Association, and it's a very important institution because our stories have been secure in the hands of the Oral History Association of South Africa for all those years. Even pele ke tswela pele ntate Sekgothe Mokgwatjane re leboga ntate ke thabile kudu go le bona, very happy tate ke kana kaofela le ba ke ba lebalang a se ka go nyatša ke go re monagano le nako mokopana ka nako tše dingwe. Oral history has been important in debunking the story of the lion and the human. We always talk about the lion and the human. As long as lions don't tell their own stories, the human will always prevail. And oral history has been that important to the point whereby it's even now easy for people to start challenging old narratives. We know the debate, Deputy Minister, about Shaka Ilembe. People say, why was the old Shaka Hendrik Cele dark? Why is the new Shaka Zulu also dark? But when you go into the totem, Ndabezita, he comes from that family, and they'll know that they mentioned, but to make a fun now, Deputy Minister. But to Shaka, when you looked at Shaka, Shaka would look exactly like Eskom, bare o fitla ko plekeng gwa lighter. You know, bare una lighter Shaka. Look at totem ya go e kwantu. So as the Oral History Association of Mpumalanga, we are very grateful to be here today. And we also need to remind ourselves as South Africans, or as we gather at this moment to talk about oral history, we have got South Africans who are not with us here, who are somewhere in the Negev desert. Those who follow the news. Mandla Mandela, they're not with us. Boziki Savannah, they're in some dungeon, somewhere being held in a dungeon. And as South Africans, we did not be blind to that fact. While we are here commemorating, celebrating, there is an apartheid that's happening in another country. We are now able to talk about our own history as black people. We are able to talk about Ushaka not being too dark, being too light, because we have overcome our own apartheid in 1994 through the sacrifices of everyone else. Ntate Mashamba is with us, that those that we can even mention by name. So we need not fall blind to the fact that there is an apartheid in the world happening today, to the point that our South African brothers and sisters are now being held by that apartheid. So as we gather here today, it must not be something that flies over our heads. So as the Oral History Association of Mpumalanga, we are always very much aware that we need to be conscious as South Africans. As Ntate Lubisi has said, the freedom that we enjoy today did not come for free. People died. Zimbabwe was bombed, Botswana was bombed, Zambia was bombed, Lesotho was bombed, Mozambique was bombed, Swaziland was always infested with spies. People were killed in France, Dalchi September, I'm talking about Dalchi September, killed in Paris. People were shot in London. So this thing that you are seeing happening of governments that believe they can go anywhere in the world and kill whoever they want, it's not a new thing to us. That is why we need to be that activist community. And that activism needs to start with us, the oral historians, because orality carries our history forward. So as we continue in these 5 days, let us be conscious. Let us call. It's just that standing here now in Ndabezita in the executive, I cannot say we adopt a resolution calling for the release of the South Africans that are held in the Negev. I can't make that call, but I would have loved, as the oralist of Mpumalanga, to say this conference adopt a resolution calling for the release of the South Africans held in apartheid prison. So hopefully we are going to enjoy a conference this week. Very excited to be here. Let's all enjoy what's going to be offered. Thank you.
Amandla? Mayibuye? Amandla? Mayibuye? It's very simple and straightforward. My leadership, Bukhosi, you read a long list of protocols. I was trying to capture with my doctor's handwriting. I can't recall all of them. But I will submit in summary, Uguti, on behalf of Bukhosi, as read the protocol, can I be allowed to observe the similar protocol? Inkosi ithetile, Inkosi ikhulumile, so therefore I cannot out to confirm that. Sanbonani. I have a very short message from KwaZulu-Natal. First of all, it's a message of appreciation. Makeba, no Professor Skiba. Thank you for your motivation. We have been systematically lacking behind in establishing a chapter. Our veterans have been, for years, have been very committed to a program at a national level. But when we are challenged to do it in our province, we have been slacking, strategically slacking. So, but this year you came, motivated us, so we are here. We have a chapter in the province. We have launched on the 27th of April this year. And from the launch, there are interesting projects that are coming up in terms of our community consultation. Remember, we come from the community. When you talk where I come from, we have it in language. When you talk history, we have it in literature. We have it in poetry. And there is this moment of films now, in terms of intellectual property, hoping that this conference will guide us. Films that are being produced are supposed to be reflective of what we know, but artists and creative people have what we call creative license. They can lie on our behalf and we cannot say anything about it. The stuff that we see on these historic films is challenging. My great-grandfather is Paratwa, who happened to have a nice encounter with Ushara in the film. It never happened. But in the film, because it has to be dramatized, it was presented as if. But the reality is that we are engaging on a very contested terrain, hoping that this conference will help in assisting consultations across this new industry. Very soon, a film on Nkosi Bukhosi Babapedi is coming, and is going. And I don't expect Sizwe Babapedi to be complaining, as Sizwe Sakazulu is complaining with the content that we see on the film that represent the story of Ilembe on DSTV. Because the reality is Umama Miriam Makeba say it very well. They came, they conquered, and then they wrote. And we are 30 years past the colonial project. But the reality is that